Okay, Tov. Today's daf is daf ayin, and the daf actually splits into two in a very neat kind of a way. There's Amud Aleph and Amud Beis, because Amud Aleph is primarily a continuation of Talmudic medicine, and then ayin Amud Beis we get back to Masechet Gittin, and the Gemara says lichazisa, which is on the top of Amud Aleph here, a moist skin eruption. Bring 7 plump wheat kernels and roast them on a new metal shovel. And draw oil from the kernels and smear it on the affected area. Rav Shimi bar Ashi administered this remedy, Ovid Leilahu, to a certain idolater. L'dover acher is a cure for something else, meaning leprosy. V'yitasi, and the idolater was healed. So this is not only a remedy for skin eruptions, but it's also a remedy for leprosy. Omar Shmuel, Haiman de mochu le balonche de parsoi. If somebody was smitten by a Persian spear, Michya lo chai, he will not survive. The Persians, a nation that ruled Babylonia in Talmudic times, would use poisoned water to forge their spears. Thus, the spears caused certain death. Adahachi v'hachi, in the meanwhile, before he dies, nispule bisra shmena agume v'chamrachayim. He should be fed fatty meat roasted on coals and undiluted wine. Efshar dechai purta umefakid abesa. Maybe he will extend his life for a short period of time. He'll be able to instruct his household before his death. Amar Rav Idi bar Ovin. Hai man debola zibura. Somebody who swallowed a hornet. Michyelo chaye. He will die. Adahachi achi. But in the meantime, nashke Riviase, he should be given a drink of a revius de chalashamgas, of strong vinegar. Efshar de chai purtum base. Maybe he'll survive a little bit longer and instruct his household. Amar Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, ochal besar shar bilefes, one who eats beef with turnips. Vilon balavana, and he sleeps outside in the open. Balavana meaning under the moon. Bilele arba'asar chamishas of tkufas Tammuz, on the 14th or 15th night of any month during the summer season. Al chazu achilu. It's probable that he'll be seized with a disease called achilu. And the Gemara later on is going to explore what exactly is this disease achilu. Tana, we learned in a Brisa of Amamale Kreso Mikol Davar, if he fills his stomach with anything, in other words, he overeats, Ochasaso achilu. Once again, he's liable to be seized with achilu. Amar Papa Filu Mitamre, even if he fills himself with dates. Pshita, why do you have to tell me dates? I mean, is there any difference between dates and any other food? Salka daitachamina. I would have thought to say. And Rav Papa is telling us lafuke. Hov yomamah. Since we have a statement, that dates satiate. They warm the body, loosen the bowels, provide energy, and although they're sweet, they do not spoil. They do not spoil one who partakes of them. Is emelo, perhaps filling oneself with dates will not bring upon him achilu because of the various positive dimensions of eating dates. It's so healthy for him. Kamashmal Rav Papa says, you know what? Even dates, if you overeat them, it will bring upon you achilu. My achilu. What is achilu? Amar Abu Lazar, Eish shel atzamos. Fire of the bones. Well, that's clear. My Eish shel atzamos. So what is fire of the bones? Amar Abaye Eish Garmi. What's Eish Garmi? He says in the footnote, fever. Garma is the Aramaic word for a bone. Thus, Eish Garmi is a precise or Aramaic translation of Eish Atzamos. This disease is mentioned by its Aramaic name in Targum Yonasan and Sefer Dvarim, and it was more readily identifiable in the Aramaic than in the Hebrew translation, even though this is a word-for-word translation of the Hebrew. My asuse, so what's the remedy for achilo? Omar Abaye, Omali Aim, my mother told me, that's stepmother, Kulu Shkaina Tlosavishivatles. All other medicinal beverages are taken for either 3, 7, or 12 days. For high, but the following remedy, ad mitze. He should take it continuously until he is cured. All other medical beverages are taken on an empty stomach for high, but this remedy that we're going to describe is basa the achal. You should take it only after he's eaten on a full stomach, which he drank. He went into the bathroom. He relieved himself. He exited the bathroom, washed his hands. And then, they bring him buna de shesisa de tlafche. He has brought a fistful of lentil porridge, a cereal made of ground lentils and salt. Ubuna de chamatika, a fistful of aged wine. V'nigbelinu bahari adodi v'nevel. He should knead them together, knead with a K, together, and eat the mixture. V'nechroch b'sdinei v'nigri. Then he's to wrap himself in blankets, go to sleep, make sure he perspires. V'leka de nukme ad de koimenafshe. No one is to wake him up until he rises on his own. His sleep should not be disturbed, so that he can perspire profusely. When he arises, take off the blankets immediately. If he does not take the blankets off immediately, then the illness may return to him. The Gemara now discusses habits that promote good health. Many of the following suggestions are cited by the Rambam, Hilchos Deis, Perek Daled. Eliyahu l'Rabbi Nassan. Eliyahu Hanavi said to Rabbi Nassan, because Eliyahu never died, and throughout the generations he appears to various sages. In this case, Rabbi Nassan. Echol shlish u'sei shlish v'anach shlish. Eat 1/3 of your stomach's capacity. Drink 1/3 of your stomach's capacity, and leave 1/3 of your stomach unfilled. L'chetichos ta'amot. This way, if you get angry after a meal, you'll be filled to capacity. Anger causes the stomach to feel full. One who leaves room in his stomach will not be adversely affected by anger. However, one who fills himself with food may become ill if he becomes angry. Tani Rabbi Chia. He wishes to protect himself against intestinal illness. He should be accustomed to dipping his bread in wine or in vinegar, both in summer and winter. Also, if your meal gives you pleasure, withdraw your hands from it. Don't overindulge. And do not delay when you need to relieve yourself. One who drinks white tilya, which is an inferior type of wine, he's liable to be seized with feebleness. Now the Gemara discusses various types of wines. There are 60 types of wine. The most superior is aromatic wine. It's made of red aromatic wine. The worst and the most inferior is white tilia. Rabbi Yehuda Mandi Yosef Bitzafone Nisan Gabidura. One who sits near a fire on a Nisan morning is Shayef Mishcha V'Nafik V'Yosef B'Shimsha. Then oils himself and goes out to sit in the sun. Ochazato Vitek, he's liable to be seized with feebleness. Tana Rabbanon, we learned in the Raisik is dumb. Vishimesh Mitaso. After bloodletting, he engaged in relations on that very same day. He will have feeble children. If a pregnancy results from those relations, he kizu shnei v'shimshu, both he, the man, and the woman, both bloodlet. V'shimshu, they engaged in relations on the same day. They will have children that are afflicted with rasan, an illness in which one is afflicted with a cranial organism that causes extreme feebleness. Rav Papa said, "Lo amarnella delo midi." Only if he didn't taste anything between the bloodletting and his conjugal relations. Midi less on but if he tasted anything in between, there's nothing to be concerned about. The resulting offspring will not be afflicted. Again, it's still detrimental to one's health to engage in relations on the day of bloodletting, as well as the day before and the day after, but it will not impact on the offspring. Amar Rabba Barav Huna. He arrived home from the road, and he engaged in relations with his wife that day. He will have feeble children. We learned in the Bryce. One who comes out of the washroom. He should wait the amount of time required to walk a half a mil. Now, a mil is 2,000 amma, and it takes 18 minutes to walk 2,000 amma. Half a mil would be 9 minutes. The demon of the bathroom accompanies him for that period of time. If he went and he had conjugal relations in that period of time, within the 9 minutes after he came out of the privy, then he will have epileptic children. We learned to if he engages in conjugal relations while standing, he is liable to be seized with a severe cramp. And miyushav, but if he's sitting, then osato delaria, he is liable to be seized with delaria. What's delaria? The Gemara is going to explain that in a minute. Hu milamala he milamala hu milamata is also delaria. My delaria, Omer Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, Sam delaria dardara. The antidote for delaria is dardara. Okay, fine. So we don't know how to identify delaria, but the Gemara describes its antidote. And what is its antidote? It's delaria. Just 1 second. It's dardara. My dardara, Abaye morika de choche, saffron that grows in the hedges of wild thorns. Rapapa olis ubolale. Rapapa would chew saffron and swallow it. Rapapi olis vishadile. Rapapi would chew saffron and spit it out. One is not proficient in the way of the world, meaning he's impotent. Is leisei etc. He should bring 3 kfizas, which is a vessel that holds 3 revios of saffron that grew in a field that was fertilized with sheep manure, v'neduktinu, and he should grind them up, boil them in wine, and drink the mixture. Rav Yochanan, hein hechziruni linarusi, is exactly this which returned me to the potency of my youth. Shlosha Devarim Makfishim Kochu Shalom, three things drain a person's strength. Ve'eluhein Pachad Derech V'Yovon, anxiety, travel, and sin. Pachad Dirsiv, anxiety, as it says in the pasuk in Tehillim, Libi Schar Azavani Kochi, my heart is engulfed with anxiety, my strength has forsaken me. Derech, travel, Dirsiv, because it says in Tehillim, Ina Baderech Kochi, he has afflicted my strength on the way. Avon Dirsiv, again a pasuk in Tehillim, Kashal Bavoni Kochi, because my iniquity, my strength has failed. Each of these three things listed here affects a different element of a person's vitality. Anxiety undermines one's emotional strength. Travel debilitates one's physical prowess. And sin reduces one's spiritual self. Shlosha Dvarim Matizim Gufa Shalom, three things tear down a person's body. Achal miumari eats while he's standing. Shasa miumari drinks while he's standing. Shimesh mitasa miumari has relations while he's standing. Chamisha krovim lemisa yosim and 5 things bring a person closer to death than to life. Any one of these 5 things. V'yeluhen, these are the 5. Achal v'yomad, shasa v'yomad, hikis dam v'yomad, yashen v'yomad, shimesh mitasa v'yomad. Shisha also somiyad mace. 6 things will cause one to die immediately. He comes to the road, he's exhausted, and he is dam, and then he lets blood. He enters into a bathhouse to bathe. He drinks spirits until he's intoxicated. He sleeps on the ground. And he engages in conjugal relations. If he did all these 6 things, it will bring about his death. That's only if he did these 6 things in the order listed. If he does it in a different order, he's debilitated. He won't die. Aini is his soul. For Hami Uras of the Leili of the Tlosaminayu Umes, a woman by the name of Muras did only 3 of these things to her slave, and he died as a result. So why is it that you say you need 6? Hahu kachush hava. The slave was frail. He was somewhat ill to begin with. Shmona rubon kashim yutan yafa. 8 things are harmful in abundance, but beneficial in moderation. Derech, v'derech eretz, travel and conjugal relations. Osher umalacha, wealth and labor. Yayin v'shena, wine and sleep. Chamin v'akozistam, warm water and bloodlet. Shmona v'matinis hazera, 8 things diminish the sima. The 7, v'elu heinan, there is a melech, salt, a rav, hunger, a nosak, a nesek. What is nesek? A tsaras, on the head or on the beard. V'chia, crime. Shein gavi karka, sleeping on the ground. V'gud gidanios, eating coriander. Ukshus shalobizman, and eating hops that are not in season. And the Gemara later on is going to define the season for hops. Hakozes dam lamata b'fly. And bloodletting below. The Gemara will explain what it means below. Tana, we learned in a brisa, kishem shekosha lamata kiflayim. Just like bloodletting below is twice as harmful as any other thing, so too bloodletting above is twice as beneficial as anything else. Omar Rav Papa.